Amazon HQ2 and the diversity factor. As the e-commerce giant moves to Long Island City, we're told over 25,000 jobs will be made available to the public. However, many are concerned that as the company brings in more jobs, will it also bring a massive inequality problem? Settling its headquarters just blocks north from the country's largest public housing development, where the median income for a family of four is just $15,800, will the tech giant find a way to spread the wealth and hire those within the community, or will it add to the already existing disparity between Long Island City's rapidly gentrifying enclaves and its areas of poverty? As a part of our Chasing the Dream initiative, Poverty and Opportunity in America, take you inside one organization's quest to diversify Amazon. The National Urban League has been bridging the educational and economic gaps between Americans for over 100 years now, and it's set on doing the same for the tech giant. Joining me now is the League's president and CEO, Mark Morial. Mark, it's always a pleasure to have you with us.
Hey, Jack, great to be with you. Thank you.
So let's talk about this, because there was such attention paid to the notion of where is Amazon going to set up this second headquarters. And when the decision was made, there was applause across the board. And yet now we're starting to hear some concerns being articulated. Let me ask you, from your perspective, the National Urban League, what are the specific concerns you have?
Well, the specific concerns is that Amazon is one of the three largest enterprises in the United States, currently headquartered in Seattle. And if you look at Amazon today, neither its board nor its senior executive ranks reflect any degree of diversity when it comes to communities of color. The governor of this state, the mayor of this city, certainly on record for a long time in supporting inclusion and diversity in their policies. What we're calling on Jeff Bezos and Amazon to do is to make firm commitments that these 25,000 jobs and Amazon's presence here in New York will be different than its presence in Seattle, that it will reflect the diversity of New York's population, that there'll be pipelines for people to move up the executive ranks from the city's African American, Latino, Asian, and other communities of color. And there's sort of a precedent for this, Jack, and that is companies like Comcast and Charter have entered into written agreements in the past that outline their diversity commitments. And we think Amazon should do the very same thing. Look, this is an unprecedented opportunity, but it's also an unprecedented subsidy in terms of its size. $2.5 billion in public benefits to secure 25,000 jobs. So if you basically agree with the premise that, quote unquote, Amazon can be good for New York and New York City, then what we say is there's got to be conditions attached that ensure that the community broadly benefits from its presence.
Have you gotten any response from either Jeff Bezos personally or for Amazon as an entity?
No response as of yet. And what we're hopeful is that they'll respond to our letter and want to be part of a process to sit down. This is the work of the National Urban League. We've worked with many Fortune 500 enterprises over the years to push them and advocate for diversity, but then also in demonstrating to them best practices. In this instance, what the 21st century requires is that they make a commitment as to the composition of their board, as to the composition of their senior executive ranks, as to how they're going to ensure that these 25,000 jobs are going to be opportunities for the boys and girls that are currently in the junior high schools and the high schools in Queens and in Manhattan and in Brooklyn and the Bronx and Staten Island, the communities of New York City.
Would you be satisfied if the leadership from Amazon comes back to you and says, we understand your concerns here. We share your concerns as an entity that we believe has to show corporate responsibility, social responsibility. But we're just reluctant to enter into written agreements here. These notions of hiring and progression is so fluid that what we're saying to you is, yes, we'll make a commitment, but we just don't want to do it on paper. Would that be acceptable?
It really isn't acceptable, Jack, and I'll tell you why. If one looks at diversity and inclusion as a business proposition, not just an equity proposition, then the way we do business in America is with written agreements. The way we do business in America is with frameworks. The way we do business in America is by setting targets and goals. So what we're trying to do is elevate this conversation. Secondly, and interestingly, there have been instances in the past, I've not been involved in it, where corporations have made good faith handshake commitments to diversity and ignored them when the leadership of the company changed, when the company was acquired by another company, when there were circumstances of control changes. So in this instance, there's a precedent, and other companies in America have made written commitments. Many of them have internal written diversity and inclusion policies. They're monitored at the board level. What makes this case so different is the magnitude of the public subsidy that Amazon will enjoy to relocate or to locate its second headquarters here in New York City. So I think Amazon has a great opportunity here to demonstrate the way. The tech sector is the future of America when it comes to jobs. We want to make sure that that tech sector is inclusive, that it's diverse, and that there are meaningful opportunities for all of the young people of America who want to work in that sector.
Why do you say, Mark, that this is more than an equity proposition? That this is, and it should be viewed by Amazon, if I'm understanding you correctly, it should be viewed by Amazon as also a good business proposition. Why do you say that?
Excellent question, Jack. Two reasons. If one looks at the composition of the American workforce going forward, the population base going forward, it is more inclusionary than ever before. People of color will already make up half the high school graduates in America. Within 15 to 20 years, they'll make up half of the workforce, particularly the workforce between the ages of 25 and 55. Number one. Number two, Amazon's customer base. I am an Amazon customer. You may be one also. Its customer base is all of America. It's those who live on the boulevard, those who live in the alley, those who live in big houses, those that live in small houses. Amazon, I think, is demonstrating a responsiveness to its customer base. And the third reason is investors today, many institutional investors, many university endowments, and others want companies to be responsive and responsible when it comes to the issue of diversity and inclusion. So this, I think, is a chance for Amazon to elevate its voice. We've raised great concerns about the tech sector writ large. Last year, we released a report, the State of Black America report. We found that of the top four sort of Silicon Valley identified, if you will, companies, that less than 1,000 or 1,500 of their almost 40,000 employees were African American. We've got to do better. They can do better. We are willing to work with them for them to do better. But this is about business proposition and an equity proposition together.
Hey, Mark, we always appreciate having the chance to share some of your thoughts and ideas, and certainly the Urban League also. This is obviously going to be a continuing story, so my hope is we'll get you back on here, and we'll talk some more down the road, all right?
Always, Jack. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. You be well.